Hi you guys, today's lesson is on combining integers. So before we get started with that, will you please make sure you have this combining integers guided notes packet, and then also something to write with, because as we go through this lesson, I want you to be following along and practicing when I ask you to practice. We are going to start this lesson with a little bit of a warm-up. So if you guys will turn to the back side of this worksheet, it's a two-sided worksheet, you'll see there's some empty space there. And on that empty space, I want you to answer these questions for me. So just answer them, push pause, push play when you've got the answers down on your piece of paper. So I want you to do answers for A, B, C, D, and E. Okay, so let's go ahead and go through these. Not all of your answers are going to be exactly the same. So Lance owes his dad money. His debt is greater than $30. Give a possible number. So this says his debt is greater than $30. Give a possible number to represent Lance's debt. Okay, so if his debt is greater than $30, well, we know a debt of $30, we could represent that by a negative 30. So if his debt is greater than that, then that means we could choose something like negative 35 or negative 40 or negative 56. All of these would be examples of a debt greater than 30. Okay, so hopefully you have one that will work. Numbers that wouldn't work would be any positive integers. Positive integers wouldn't work. And then anything that is smaller than negative 30 also would not work. So for B, the temperature in Chicago is negative 4 degrees Fahrenheit. It is colder in Minneapolis. Give a possible temperature for Minneapolis. So if this is our thermometer, and here is negative 4 degrees Fahrenheit, and this is the temperature in Chicago, and it's colder in Minneapolis. If it's colder, that means any of the temperatures that would be below the negative 4 would be colder. So negative 5 or negative 7 or negative 20. These would all be examples of temperatures that would be colder than Chicago's temperature. Okay, the next one says the temperature in Chicago is negative 4 degrees Fahrenheit. It is warmer in Milwaukee. So if this is our thermometer and the temperature in Chicago is negative 4 degrees, and we are giving a temperature that is warmer, any temperatures that would be above the negative 4 would be warmer. So you could have said negative 3 or negative 2. You could have even given a positive temperature like 10 or 100. All of these would be examples of temperatures that would be warmer. So for part D, while scuba diving, Kath descended more than 15 feet below sea level. Give a possible number to represent Kath's lowest elevation. So if this is sea level, 15 feet, and that would be like a 0, okay? 15 feet below sea level is going to be somewhere down around here. And then it says Kath descended more than 15 feet below sea level. So that means she went even further down. So you could have said negative 16 was a possible number, or negative 20, or negative 50. All of these would be examples of numbers that would work. And then the last one day in January, the temperature in Salt Lake City at 4 p.m. was 8 degrees Fahrenheit. Over the next 6 hours, the temperature fell more than 10 degrees. Give a possible temperature for Salt Lake City at 10 p.m. that night. So if this is our thermometer, and we start at 8 degrees Fahrenheit, and then over the next 6 hours, the temperature fell more than 10 degrees. So if we're at 8 here, if we go down to 0, that would be 8, and then we'd have to go at least 2 more, down to negative 2. So it has to be something colder than negative 2. So you could have said negative 3, negative 10, negative 15. All of these would have worked. Okay, so now for the next part of the lesson, I want you to turn your paper back around. So we are now on this side right here. And we are going to do this activity number 1 together. Today's lesson is on combining integers. Okay, so as we think about these different situations, we're going to be coming up with a model or a picture, and then we are going to come up with the net result. Okay, so a hydrogen atom has 1 proton and 1 electron. So then you can see there is a model or a picture drawn here. And so that would mean the atom has a neutral charge. So if you have a -1 and a +1 together, that would be neutral. So essentially that would be like having a 0 charge. Okay, let's look at the next one. I took 4 steps forward and 3 steps back. So taking 4 steps forward and 3 steps back. Okay, when you combine those, you can see that you're still 1 step ahead of where you started. If you take a +4 and you combine that with a -3, you would end up with being ahead 1 step, or a +1. Okay, let's go to the next one. I got a check in the mail for $1 million, but then I got a bill that says I owe $1 million. So when you get that check in the mail for $1 million, that would mean you're up $1 million. And then if you got a bill for the same amount, and then you combine those, a +100 with a -100, you're going to end up with $0. Sorry, so sad. Okay, let's look at the next one. I ate 1 candy bar with 200 calories. Then I ate 4 apples with 50 calories each. So if you eat 1 candy bar with 200 calories, and then 4 apples with 50 calories each. Okay, so the amount of calories eaten in apples would be 4 times 50, which would be 200, and 200 plus 200 would be 400 calories. Okay, let's look at the next one. Joe found 4 quarters, but he had a hole in his pocket and he lost 1 quarter. So he has 4, that's a +4, but then he lost 1. So if he has 4 and he loses 1, he's going to end up having only 3 quarters left. Okay, let's go to the next one. Lisa earned $8, so that would be like a +8, and then she spent 6. So if she earned 8, but she spent 6, the net result of that, when you combine those two, is that Lisa only has $2 left. Okay, let's look at the next one. George gained 10 pounds. Okay, so he's up 10. But then he went on a diet and he lost 12. So if he gained 10, but then he lost 12, when we combine these two, he's actually 2 pounds ahead. He's 2 pounds lighter than when he started. Okay, let's try one more. John took $15 out of his bank account, then deposited 10. So if he took $15 out of his bank account, that would be a -15. And then if he deposited 10, when we figure out the net result here, if he took 15 out and he only deposited 10, he still is at a loss of $5 in his account. He's got $5 less than what he started with. Okay, so now I want you to try some of these on your own. You'll see this is activity 1 on your Combining Integers guided notes packet. It's up at the top. So go ahead and push pause, try each of these, and then push play and see if you got them correct. Okay, so the helium atom had 2 protons and 2 electrons. So we know that protons have a positive charge and electrons have a negative charge. So if we combine these two, our net result would be a 0. Okay, the next one. The treasure map said to take 10 steps north and then 8 steps south. So 10 steps north and then 8 steps south. When we combine those, we would still be 2 more steps north than we are south. Okay, the next one. Jen earned $6 working in the garden. That would be like a positive 6. And then she spent $5 on a toy. So if she has 6, but then she spends 5, she only has 1 left. She only has $1 left. The elevator started on the 8th floor. Okay, I better draw this over here. So started on the 8th floor and then went up 5 floors. So that means the elevator is now on the 13th floor. And then went back down 2 floors. So the net result would be 11. Okay, the next one. 7 students were added to Mrs. Romero's class, and then 4 students dropped it. So the net result of that is 3. She still has 3 more students than she started with. The next one, the temperature fell 12 degrees between midnight and 6. So it fell 12. And then the temperature rose 12 degrees between 6 and 8. So the net change in temperature would be a 0. The next one, the home team scored a goal, okay, which was answered with a goal from the visiting team. So that net result would be 0. And then the last one, the football team gained 7 yards on the first down and lost 9 yards on the second down. So the net result here is that they have lost 2 more yards than what they started at. Okay, so for the next activity, I want you to do activity number 2. So push pause, do activity number 2, and then push play and see if you got these correct. Okay, so hopefully you've had a chance to try each of these. Remember, the best way to learn is to practice and then correct to see if you did it right. An osprey flies off the ground and reaches 35 feet above a river when he sees a trout. He then dives 37 feet down to get the trout. How many feet below the water does he end up? Okay, so if this is our river and the osprey goes up 35 feet and then he goes down 37 feet, he's going to be 2 feet below the water. Okay, so the next one, Zach's football team moves the football 5 yards forward on the first down. On the next down, they lose 12 yards. On the down after that, they go forward 8 yards. How many yards from the starting point did they move the football in the 3 down? Okay, so let's say here's the starting point right here. So they move the football 35 yards. So they go forward 35. On the next down, they lose 12. So they go back this way 12. So that is going to put them at 23. On the down after that, they go forward 8 yards. So 23 plus 8 is 31. So how many yards from the starting point did they move the football in the 3 downs? And you would say 31 yards. Okay, the next one. You walk 3 miles from your house to the store. Okay, so if here's your house, and you walk 3 miles from your house to the store. At the store, you meet up with a friend and walk with her 1 mile back. So you walk with your friend 1 mile back. How far are you from your house now? And we would say that we are 2 miles from home. Okay, the next one. You ride your bike 12 miles and then get a flat tire. Okay, so if this is your starting point, you ride your bike 12 miles and you get a flat. You turn around and walk the bike back 4 miles before your mom is able to pick you up. If this is your house and you traveled 12 but then walked back 4, you would now be 8 miles from home. Okay, the next one. At the Masters Golf Tournament, Tiger Woods' score is -3 and Phil Mickelson's score is -5. Who is in the lead and by how many shots? Note, in golf, the lower score wins. Okay, so if Tiger Woods is -3 and Phil Mickelson is -5, Phil Mickelson is actually winning, okay? And he is winning by 2 strokes. Okay, the next one. Remember, I want you to practice all of these, push pause, and then push play and see if you got them correct. That's what you should be doing right now. So, if you didn't do that, please push pause and go ahead and do that. Okay, here we go. Steve found a treasure map that said to take 10 steps north, then 10 steps south. Where is Steve in relation to where he started? So, if this is north, east, south, west, and he took 10 steps north, and then he took 10 steps south, he is right where he started. He's exactly where he started. Okay, let's look at number 3. Tom left school and walked 5 blocks east. So let's draw our little northeast, southwest here. Okay, so Tom left school, and so school's right here, let's say. He walked 5 blocks east. Charlie left school and walked the same distance west. So he walked 5 blocks west. How far apart did the friends end up? Well, we can say that this is 5, and then this is 5, and 5 plus 5 is 10. They ended up 10 blocks apart. Okay, the next one. Ricardo's grandmother flew from Buenos Aires, Argentina to Minnesota to visit some friends. When Ricardo's grandmother left Buenos Aires, the temperature was 84 degrees. When she arrived in Minnesota, it was -7 degrees. What was the temperature change for her? So if we do our thermometer here, she started out at 84 degrees. And when she arrived in Minnesota, it was -7. And so from here to here is a change of 84. And then from here to here is a change of 7. So if we add those two together, the total change in temperature would be a 91 degrees. Okay, the next one. The elevator started on the 8th floor. So we have an elevator, it starts on the 8th floor. Then it went up 5 floors. So that means it would then be on the 13th floor. Then it went down 2 floors, so it would be on floor 11. Okay, and then the last one, the temperature rose 13 degrees between noon and 5, then fell 7. The temperature at noon is 75. What would the temperature be at 10? Okay, so if the temperature started at 75 at noon, so this is our little thermometer here, and this is 75. If the temperature at noon is 75, and then the temperature rose 13 between noon and 5, so that means it went up 13, which would put us at 85. Sorry, this is getting a little bit messy. So the temperature is now 85, and then it fell 7 degrees. So if you're at 85 and then you go down 7 degrees, you would be at 78 degrees Fahrenheit at 10 p.m. Okay, so let's go ahead and go through the rest of these. You are now going to have to push pause, complete 7, 8, 9, and 10, and then push play and see if you got them correct. Okay, here we go. Paula was standing on top of a cliff 30 feet above sea level. She watched her friend Juan jump from the cliff to a depth of 12 feet into the water. How far apart are the two friends? So if this is sea level, and up here is the cliff, and the cliff is 35 feet above sea level. Okay? And Juan jumps off, and he goes 12 feet into the water. Okay, so here's where Juan landed. We have to figure out how far apart are the two friends. Well, from here to here would be 35 feet, and then from here to here would be another 12 feet. So they are 47 feet apart. Okay, let's look at the next one. The carbon had 6 protons and 6 electrons. What is the charge of the atom? And we would say 0. Number 9. The Broncos got possession of the football on their own 20-yard line. They ran for an 8-yard gain. The next play was a 3-yard loss. What is their field position after 2 plays? So if they start on the 20-yard line and then they ran for an 8-yard gain, that's going to put them at 28. And then the next play was a 3-yard loss. That's going to put them at 28 minus 3, which is 25. Okay, last one. Samantha earned $14 for mowing the lawn. She then spent $6 on a new shirt. How much money does she have now? So if she had 14 and she spent 6, she now has $8. Okay, so what I would like you to do now is I would like you to complete activity 4 on this sheet. It's going to start with Chloe has $45 in her bank account. After she went shopping, she looked at her account again and she had negative $12. How much did she spend shopping? Okay, so I want you guys to work on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then I want you to bring this guided notes packet back to me so I can check it off with you. And then you can move on to your next assignment.